Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Fandalorian Club here on Apocaflix Movies. It is your host, Jake Berlin, and I am joined today with the fellow Fandalorian Club members, Mr. Jacob Harley and Brian Avalosino. How you fellas doing on this Friday?
Not too bad. I heard the animal noise in the background, and I literally turned. There's you could right in the
For the music.
You hear like, and I was like, the fuck is that? Yeah.
How's
I
everyone?
love that music, though.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great music. I searched up and down for that music, and it works out really, really good. It's a gentleman who does a lot of Star Wars mixes, and it's a pretty cool mix. It works out perfectly for the show.
Yeah, love it. You can barely tell a difference from the actual one.
Yeah, it's like subtle differences throughout the whole thing, and he mixes a whole bunch of different Star Wars blends together, which is really cool. So, but yes, we are here. Fandalorian Club is live. We are here for Fando Fridays, as we get into Chapter 10. That should be the next T-shirt. We get into Chapter 10.
No, I can't buy anymore.
Come on, Brian.
I'm like catching up to you, Jacob. So it's bad.
I doubt
it's
it.
bad.
You don't even have an Apocaflix movie shirt yet, so let's not get too far.
Yeah.
Fair.
No comment, Brian. Doesn't even know what to say.
Yeah, we are here for chapter 10, The Passenger, episode 2 of season 2. Not as much to talk about this week as we did last week, obviously, because last week's episode was full of Easter eggs and just chaos, and Jon Favreau directing, so it's going to be very, very much in line with that type of episode. But not to say this episode is cheap or bad or anything of that nature. It's just a little bit of a smaller scale episode, which fits perfectly with its director. Peyton Reed directed this episode, and if you know Peyton Reed and the Ant-Man movies, and those are his babies, as well as a number of other movies in the past. But we're here to discuss this. We're going to go in chronological order, essentially, and pretty much break it down sequence by sequence, kind of breaking it up into 3 different sections of an episode, so we kind of have time to discuss each thing that we want to talk about. And we're going to start with the opening sequence of the episode, which picks up directly from Chapter 9. We see Mando. He's on the speeder bike with Baby Yoda. They're headed back to Mos Eisley after defeating the Krayt Dragon. And they run into some trouble, some bounty hunters who are after the child. And it's carryover from season 1. They're still hunting down the child. And we see some bounty hunters trip him up in Return of the Jedi fashion from the Ewoks with the rope, tripping over the speeder bike, which is a cool little Easter egg there. Got some cool hand-to-hand combat stuff there. Obviously, Baby Yoda being dumped from a speeder bike was just horrifying.
He went flying.
He went absolutely flying. But yeah, Jacob, I'll start with you, man. This opening sequence, and this also carries over to the Cantina stuff as well that happened on Tatooine right after this. What did you think of the opening sequence of this episode?
So the opening sequence of last week and this week is like the best back-to-back opening sequences ever, because that was my favorite part of last episode, and I love the opening of this episode. It's almost like, okay, the goal of start of every episode is just show how much of a badass the Mandalorian is, because that's what this did. He's very capable in any fight that you throw at him. Doesn't matter if he's outnumbered or not, and even if he didn't have his gadgets, he's good to go. I was thinking about the child, but when the bike flipped over, but at the same time, I'm like, he's force sensitive. He's going to be okay. Like, if he's you
went tumbling like a tumbling weed.
I know. I feel like
a tire going down the road.
Yeah, I feel like he can save himself, though. I'm surprised he didn't save himself when that, I forgot what the creature was called who was holding him hostage with the knife, but I loved it. I just thought it was so cool. And again, the Mandalorian has no problem killing whatsoever. This is not that cheesy stereotype in our superhero shows where they're like, we can't kill no matter what. And I'm like, these guys are killers. They're bad guys. You're in like a lawless galaxy. Let these guys die. And I'm sorry to take it away, but best part of the opening is when the child looks up at him like, did you really have to kill him? And he's like, yeah, I did. So I love the opening for sure.
Brian, what about you?
Yeah, the opening was fun. I love the opening. I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna get another action scene right off the bat. And Baby Yoda went freaking flying. You could hear him going like he's rolling. And
I wish a picture of that. Oh
yeah, yeah,
I have this.
Yeah.
Oh,
just awesome. Watching the guy fly off. I loved that part.
I laughed hysterically, and I knew it was coming. But
when the alien just went,
when they're looking at him walk away, I was like, "Is he gonna shoot him?" And then it popped in my head to go, "Oh," and then he just goes, and he's.
There was no way he was gonna let him have the jetpack.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Yeah,
you could hear him going, rah, rah, and then just splat, and then like Jacob said, where Baby Yoda just goes, "Dick move." Like,
and I had the subtitles on, and they showed like a noise that the child made when he looked at him, like they spelled it out, and it was hilarious.
I love it when they switch the jetpack for Baby Yoda, and he starts he waddles super fast back over him, like, "Oh, pick me up."
Oh, I love that too. That is just like a baby when they're scared and they run towards you.
Well, it happens later in episode 2, which we'll get to once we get to the Death Cave. So, yeah,
I will say one last thing. I did love the part that when he said, "If you touch that or hurt that child in any way, there's nowhere in the galaxy that you will be safe."
Yeah,
I was "Ooh."
It's
He's not effing around.
It's fully an episode that's dedicated to dads everywhere, and their children. But yeah, I think the episode was really good. I love my speeder bike stuff. I love hand-to-hand combat stuff. Bounty hunters going up against each other is really, really cool. I'll transfer from the opening to him essentially just packing everything up on his shoulders and doing the sand walk, which was really cool. Like a little montage of someone being lost in the desert, and then getting to the cantina as well in Tatooine. And you see Amy Sedaris back again, and some really, really cool Easter eggs there for a lot of Star Wars fans. Again, another interesting character knowing about Mandalorians in the galaxy with the Ant-Man, quote unquote, the Ant-Man.
Oh, Dr. Mandible.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I knew it was Doctor something, but I couldn't figure out.
It was Dr. Mandible, which is
like
ironic.
I said. I had the subtitles on, and before the ant spoke, it popped up and it said the doctor, and I was like, "This ant is a doctor."
What? Dr. Mandible, because that's the medical name for your jaw.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fitting, Peyton Reed directing, and you have the Ant-Man in the beginning of the episode, essentially.
You think that was done intentionally? Like, we got
100%
ant character in it?
100%.
I'm pretending now it's the one that did the drum solo in Ant-Man.
Oh my goodness.
So, that was a legit ant, but yeah, maybe. Look, it's a really cool opening, and it was quick. It was to the point. We got what we needed to as far as information. And like I mentioned, some cool Easter eggs. I love how they were cooking the crate dragon meat. With the pod racer,
delicious,
which was really cool. And another cool callback, the droid cooking, was actually from episode 5 as well, in the Jawa scene alongside R5, which is another cool callback. But yeah, a really cool opening, action-packed again. You guys talked about it all. But let's just go and shift gears to the big stuff that started
real quick on Amy Sedaris. Is that her name, right?
Yes.
Sedaris.
Is it Sedaris? I don't know.
Sedaris or Sedaris?
Sedaris, I think, actually.
Last season and then last episode, I didn't particularly love her character. I liked this episode. I liked her in this episode the most I've ever liked her, to be honest. It was, to me, it actually kind of fit, and she was very funny. I loved the scene where she's like, I put it on my life. I trust this woman. And then she's like, yeah, I have very good judgment. Like, cause she just met her.
I met her 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. It was the best use of her, in my opinion.
I also love the joke she made about the Rhodians. I don't know if you guys caught that, where they They cooked the meat, and it was a nod to Greedo being fried by Han Solo.
Oh yeah.
I will say,
did the meat look appealing to you guys? I can't decide.
It was darker, but I mean,
I want to try it in Galaxy's Edge. Galaxy's Edge better have crate dragon meat.
Well, it's not going to be legit crate dragon meat, Brian.
It's not.
Obviously.
Anyway, let's
I will say, wait, when she's being no, what? You keep going so dang
Let me come up with
fast. I was
something
just gonna say
too for the next transition. Hold on.
I'm just gonna say I appreciate that they're using her like someone like her, not just to put her in there. Like she's shoveling the story
now.
She's recurring.
Yeah, but she's not just like, here's this character again. She's furthering the story along. Like, hey, I've got a contact that, and that's all she is. She's not there for extra little comedic jokes or anything. She's literally pushing the story along. She did it in the last episode, telling him where to go. Now she's providing this contact that will direct him again. I appreciate that they're not just throwing comedians and famous people in there just to throw them in there and then like reuse them as like, hey, here's a funny joke time. Like they're actually using these people. So I thought that was good to what Jacob said also about she's actually pretty entertaining.
And we're going to see that again later in the season with Horatio Sands coming back as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, as soon as he leaves Tatooine, we get to some good stuff where they're heading to this new planet, and he's got Frog Lady with him because the plot of the story is
That's literally her name in the end.
Yeah, the subtitles say Frog Lady.
Frog Lady.
So Frog Lady is essentially holding the last of her bloodline, and to be able to get this information from her, she's asking for passage to a nearby planet that her husband has scouted for them to essentially raise their children and offspring and grow life. And so along the way. Say it again.
Trask. That was the name of the planet.
Yeah.
Or the moon.
So along the way, they're headed to this planet. They get caught up with some X-Wings, which is this famous shot from the trailer that we've seen so far. And it's a cool cameo again from Dave Filoni. And then and so he comes back after his appearance in Chapter 6 of last season, which is really, really cool. And some interesting stuff happened in this scene here. Not only is it really cool, and it's also incredibly amazing with the whole dogfight sequence, which we'll talk about. But we learned some new things about the New Republic in this scene as well, about how they're operating as an organization, that they're not just letting people fly in and out. You know, they're having essentially them wear or use trackers, and they have to keep them on at all times. And they're essentially like space cops. They've become space cops for planets is a way that or sectors is what I should say. Very Green Lantern-esque, but they have instilled order into the galaxy the way that they want to, which is very different from what we've seen in anything in Star Wars before. And so this scene, as well as the dogfight, Jacob, I'll go right back to you. What did you think about everything that happened with the X-Wings?
It was interesting because I wasn't expecting them to show up. I mean, it made sense when he said he can't go into hyperspace or whatever. So this probably was the most likely time you were going to see this. And I like this because most of the Star Wars that we watch, it's the Empire in control. The prequels have the Republic and everything, but that's it really, and Clone Wars. But most of our exposure in the movies have been where the side that we're rooting for is being suppressed, and they're not the ones running the galaxy. And we have this 30-year gap or whatever where that's the case, and we get to see it in a grander scale where like you said, they're policing a lot of the galaxy. So I thought it was pretty interesting to see that. Of course, anytime we see an X-Wing, it just excites us no matter what. So it was pretty cool. I like this exchange. I thought the Mandalorian, especially Pedro Pascal, his voice work was amazing in this scene. I love how he was like, yeah, like how he was making up lies. And like we could tell he was being like sarcastic, but the pilots didn't know. I thought that stuff was hilarious. And now that I think about it, that's a little bit of Peyton Reed right there, maybe maneuvering those, like the way Pedro Pascal's talking and stuff. So,
Brian?
Yeah, I liked this scene. Again, was like, wow, we're getting the rest of that trailer right off the beginning. Other than the Mithril, that whole like chase or whatever, we've pretty much seen all the trailer already.
And
it's the first,
except Grief Karga and Cara Dune, but yeah. But
I'm assuming that probably is going to be
all in one episode, all in one episode. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that. That's pretty much all we've seen so far as trailer parts. And yeah, the best part was him just being like, yeah, I'm good. What's up with you guys? Like that type of attitude. He even tried to throw the "May the Force be with you," and then like,
oh yeah.
Well, it's funny. Like it's obviously people know that when you say goodbye or like a sign of something that you say "May the Force be with you," but he doesn't know what the Force is, and him even saying that is like,
he knows what it is. Interesting. Like he knows that phrase.
Exactly, he knows the phrase, but he doesn't know what the Force is, and that's like to me that's like that's kind of intelligent. Like that's a smart move to take a risk on saying that when you don't actually really know what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved the what would you call it? It's not a dogfight because they weren't shooting each other.
Chase?
It's a dogfight. It's 100%
a dogfight. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I loved the whole flying in and out of everything, and then it just looked visually just awesome, and then of course you got Baby Yoda who's eating the eggs in the cargo hold, being a little crap head.
Well, that comes next.
Yeah, but I'm saying going to that. But yeah, I like this part, and I had a feeling it was something. I'm pretty sure I said it before when we predicted it. Something minimal. They're not going to be a huge thing. I mean, they were at the end, but there you go. A high-speed pursuit. That's probably better.
It was like a cop chase, essentially.
Yeah. So yeah, it was cool. I like the scene. Visually, I like the scene a lot. Just seeing them fly.
I think that the X-Wings have never looked better. Personally,
when they open.
The way that the foils open is incredible, but they look like the classic handmade Star Wars models that they used for the Star Destroyers in Rogue One. Like they had this like very white, off-white hint to them that weren't like that classic gray color that you kind of tend to see in some of the Star Wars movies. They looked very, very realistic, and they looked like they were using models, which I appreciated Star Wars because that's what I want to see. The chase itself was incredible. And I'm glad nobody mentioned it, but the way that Mando flies is insane.
A little reckless.
And I was just gonna say it's very similar how I fly in Star Wars Squadrons. I don't give an F.
Jesus Christ!
I don't like.
I'm like the Mandalorian because
risk it to get the biscuit. Like you gotta risk it, man. You gotta punch it to the floor, and you gotta do whatever you can. He did a little drift in there with the crest, which was amazing, and then he just went full just straight down. No G's, just dropped the plane or the ship straight down. It was incredible to see.
Frog Lady, when she was screaming, I laughed so hard because she was just like, it was so funny. So
yeah, I mean, the whole sequence was incredible. The way that it was shot, the flying was really, really good, and so I'm very happy, and I'm glad that it wasn't like a too much of a scene where the X-Wings and the New Republic kind of took over the scene, because that's not what we want to see. We want to see something else. I'm the Dom Toretto of Squadrons, apparently, from what I describe myself as.
Jake's a hoe for the ships. Anything?
100%. 100%. But yeah, so great sequence, and it leads into some really cool stuff. Like the cool thing about this episode is that a lot of times we talk about how certain things may not flow into one another. Everything flowed into the next sequence really, really well. Like he crash landed. They ended up in this like ice cave. I'm gonna call it the death cave for certain reasons. They ended up in a death cave, and
not Ilum like we thought.
Yes, and we had theorized that, but it's definitely not Ilum. And so this leads to the next big thing that happens in this episode, and we're here for a while in this death cave, and they're crash landed. He's trying to fix the ship, and then Frog Lady goes off, and she's trying to essentially just warm her offspring and make sure that they're okay in some kind of spa. And we see that Baby Yoda. What?
She's in a hot spring.
Oh, yeah, hot spring. Well, I said spa, same thing. It's a snow spa. But yes, and this is what Brian had mentioned about Baby Yoda doing his thing, and he's he's being a little murderer. He's being a little murderer, and he's killing some eggs.
Oh my God.
He's killing some eggs. He is
never stops eating.
Just like it's all the time.
I'll tell you guys. I was not fond of this, to be honest. And
Really?
I think that was the point. Look, when he ate the frog in the Sanctuary episode last season, that was funny, right? To me, this wasn't funny and cute. It was not. I took it because look.
Are you saying because he's a murderer?
The whole point of this mission is to get these eggs back to her planet so they can save their race, their species. And Baby Yoda.
It's not her species; it's her bloodline. They said,
sure?
Yeah, it's her bloodline. And I will add this because Molly had just commented, but they were unfertilized.
Okay, well, either way, like save her bloodline. Still, that's very important. And you have him.
Look how cute he is.
No, honestly,
look how
this is the first time where I felt kind of mad and like not happy with the child, to be honest. So
you said it was that the point in your mind?
Well, the first time he started eating them, yeah.
He was being a bad boy. Like,
yeah, and the thing is, he kept doing it too. And look, it's tough because like he's a baby, and that's the thing. Like they treat him very much like a human baby. Who, my niece does the same thing with candy. She'll do whatever she can to try to get her hands on some candy, and they don't listen. So I get it, but it just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. It was the first time I was annoyed with the child. Just got to be honest.
Because he was being sassy, being a little kid.
He was being sassy the entire episode.
Yes.
Like he is definitely growing into some. And I'll give a full credit because I know that she's watching. Molly said this on their stream. His terrible 50s. He's in his terrible 50s.
That is true.
So good.
Oh my goodness.
Bravo on that one. But he's in his terrible 50s right now. Mando has no idea what to do with him.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I like when she's in the pool and he's trying to grab the eggs.
Still trying.
And
he gets them in much bigger trouble for the same reason as we see.
Let's get into that because this is where the chaos kind of gets crazy a little bit, and this is where I really started to kind of like enjoy the episode because it's a huge homage in credit of an episode to Alien, and what we do.
I've never even seen it, and I've picked up on it.
Yeah, like it was amazing the way they set it all up with the eggs and the spiders, which a lot of people are comparing to Harry Potter, Brian. In
Chamber of Secrets when they go,
there's a similar sequence.
Yeah, they go. Have you not seen it?
I've seen it, but I haven't seen it.
Isn't there just one big spider though, or no?
Yeah, or they go into the dark forest, and then all the main spider wants to eat Harry and Ron, and then they all the spiders chase them out. It's pretty much the exact same style,
but it worked really well. Like it was, and this is why I like the episode so much, is because we have never seen a horror take on Star Wars. Like we had never seen what it would feel like to have like a horror genre kind of spread out over Star Wars a little bit. They'll never go full horror with Star Wars. They'll never do that. This is a taste of what they could do with it because you have thousands of spiders chasing you. Like they're just chasing.
That is my literal nightmare. Literal nightmare.
And just like Chuck, and they open up just like the facehuggers do in Aliens. And I will say this.
Ooh, I hate their little mouth. It grosses me out.
Yeah, and I think I might have. Let me see. I think I have this is the big one. There we go.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, that is terrifying looking. It's terrifying looking.
I'll be honest with you guys. This discussion right now is making me like the episode more. Overall,
me too.
I wasn't happy with it, but now, like, you guys are changing my mind, to be honest. So I love this.
Yeah,
sorry.
It was disgusting
because I didn't think about that. This is they're never gonna make a straight horror Star Wars movie, right? But this was their version of that, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that it's funny that you said that. I thought the exact same thing, Jake. That this is probably, at least for now, the closest we would ever see a horror element of Star Wars, where like these spiders are just everywhere and chasing them, trying to eat them, and like.
Well, so the scene when they were running through like the ice halls, right?
Yeah.
Frog Lady and Mando, and
dude, the Frog Lady leaping, that was cool. I was like, damn, that's pretty damn
cool. Gear, she goes, okay, my running's not working. Let's shift up a gear.
Yeah.
And I love how Mando put the eggs on his back, and he's like, "I'll take care of them." Like instead of having her carry them, she wouldn't have been able to leap like that.
And his character, and that grew up throughout the episode. Because remember in the beginning of the episode, he had said like, "Oh, like why do I need to do this? Like I don't want to help this lady." And by the end, he's like, "Okay, we're gonna get through this. Like we're gonna be able to do this, etc." But going back to that ice hall, when I saw those spiders chasing them, and they were kind of running, and it was the cave was just being overflowed by all of them. It reminded me of the Brendan Fraser Mummy with the beetles, where the beetles.
Oh yeah, with the little ones. Yeah,
and it was like where they just started to just take over the entire wall, and you saw nothing but just the beetles. It felt very similar. And then you obviously had the big giant one pop up and everything, and he ended up killing it with the detonators and everything. But really well done as far as just camera work. The visuals of the spiders and the way it looked was incredible. I'm very, very pleased with the whole sequence because it was a really cool take on that scary Star Wars vibe, and I think it worked out really well.
So, do you mind taking off the layover? I have something I wanted to share screen and show you that I found out about the spiders. So the spiders are first appeared in a concept art for Empire Strikes Back. If you didn't know that,
interesting.
And this,
or go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, I don't want to reveal what you're going to reveal next because I know where you're going.
Oh yeah, and this isn't the first time we've seen them.
No, they're different.
Oh, okay, well,
they've been confirmed to be different, but they're both based on the same concept art.
Well, either way. Yeah. Either way, they're disgusting.
It's still all related.
Like, yes, look at the way they lay eggs. Look at the way it's
out of the mouth.
Oh, that's interesting. So, based on this concept art, they used the eyes in Rebels, but then they used like the mouth part for this Mandalorian episode.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So I just thought that would be kind of fun little share.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it's still disgusting. The fact that the mouth lays the eggs like that. It gives it like even more of a gross, horror-y, disgusting eye. Like you could absolutely see this being like a horror. If Star Wars was to make a horror movie, these people crashed on this planet and these spider things, God, it would be horrible. But yeah, no, this whole scene, when this happened, I went, okay, this is cool. This is something different.
The stakes got higher. The stakes really they got really high because we don't know what could have happened. Obviously, Mando's not going to die. Obviously, the child's not going to die. But Lady Frog could have died.
I thought Frog Lady was going to,
and her offspring could have ended up in his hands.
And he could have still. I bet you he would have still taken them to the planet.
Yeah, and it's interesting because she has some secrets. She's got some secrets. Not only is she very tech savvy by hooking up the droid for communication purposes, which was a really cool callback.
Mando freaked out when he heard that voice.
Yeah, and there's a lot of callbacks to Chapter 6 in this episode, The Prisoner from last season. But I love how she hooked up Zero to communicate with him, and then she's also extremely handy with a blaster. I mean, she shot a spider off of Baby Yoda's head.
Oh, that was cool.
Like 3 of them.
Yeah, well, I'm talking specifically like off of his head. Like
he even gave her a look like, wait a minute, like how did you do that?
Yeah.
No, I love that they showed she's not, because a lot of times we see characters like this and they're just useless, right? But they made her very intelligent and capable and all this stuff, and it ended up working out. Like after I saw her leaping, I was like, she's dope. Like that's a cool character.
I like how she was in the spot, and in order to get out and running, she used her tongue to grab her clothes.
Oh, I know. It was, and then like it pans away, and then it shows her like putting her robe on.
Hey, if she's called Frog Lady, you got to make her frog like at some point, and the tongue was definitely it. So
yeah, her husband's just going to be Frog Man. Like,
if we ever see her husband.
I think we will.
So the episode ended, which after they run back to the Razor Crest, they get trapped inside, which I was not expecting, to be honest. I thought they were going to get trapped inside the ship. They got trapped inside the cockpit, which is horrifying. They're able to get it going. Then they get crushed by a big giant spider, which that plays to that horror vibe again. Which is a really cool, visually stunning sequence that happens.
The window, the cockpit window, how it's foggy, and the little feet were like dragging on it. Oh my god, it was disgusting.
Yeah, because I was legit like, how are they going to get out of this? To be honest. Yeah, especially when the big one fell on them.
Yeah, great excuse for Mando to use his flamethrower a couple times, which was perfect. He fried some of those. Yeah, too. I mean, it's the perfect tool for it.
I was literally like, use the damn flamethrower. Like, this is the perfect opportunity.
But yeah, so it ends with them trapped inside the cockpit, and one of the big ones is on top of them. And then lo and behold, we hear some blaster fire outside, and it's the two pilots, the two New Republic pilots are wrecking shop against all these spiders, and they save him. They find him, and they save him. And this leads to an even more of an interesting sequence between these characters. And we learn that they essentially scanned him. They know who he is. They know what he's done. Another callback to the prisoner episode, where he had put those 3 prisoners inside of the prison, while also trying to break out the other one. They let that one slide. And so even though that he did have a bad past as a bounty hunter and stuff like that, he did something for them that benefited them. And
they killed one of the officers, right?
So the bounty hunters killed Davlin, who was played by Matt Lanter, who voices Anakin Skywalker.
Okay, so that's what they were referring to?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so they basically said, look, we know that you've done things in the past. You did something for us. We're going to let this one slide. And I love the fact that when he said, hey, you guys want to help me put it back together, they were complete assholes and said, nope,
I know.
Get yourself out of here.
Yeah. I couldn't believe that. They were like, look, we helped you enough. We're letting you go. We're done helping you. We're not going to pull you out of here.
Yeah. They were like, we're good. You can get yourself out of this situation.
It's a great, because we have to remember that the Resistance and the New Republic are 2 different entities.
Yep.
And so the New Republic side of it could be the dickwads of the bunch. Whereas the Resistance could be the nice, scrappy guys that we all love in the movies. This could be a tell of like, okay, maybe the New Republic are just the assholes, the cocky assholes of the group.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like that at that point. But I liked the save, and then just like, all right, we're out of here. We cashed in our favor to you. And
how is the Razor Crest still running? That ship, man,
it's limping.
Yeah,
it is limping along.
Well, and so the episode ends with them drifting off into space, and we've seen it in the trailer.
Is that like, the trailer shot?
So no, I think the trailer shot is coming.
Okay.
I think this is leading to where we saw that in the trailer where the hatch was open, and we were like, okay, like what's going on?
It's probably them landing on her moon.
And so what I'm thinking is that the final shots from what we've seen in the trailer are going to happen in the next 2 episodes. I think episode 4 will probably be Cara Dune and Grief Karga on Navarro, but episode 3 I think is going to be a part 2 where this story continues.
It's Chuck said it way at the beginning of the stream. This right here. That something tells me the next episode is the water planet in the docks.
I think so too.
I think 100% is, because if I pause I have it on my screen. A shot in the trailer, he's literally walking behind Frog Lady, who has the eggs on her back. His husband's standing next to her, and they're on the dock. So
interesting. So it's what exactly did she say? What information she has? She knows of a Mandalorian somewhere.
The husband has it.
Her husband knows Mandalorians or has seen Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
she knows nothing.
This leads to a question that Anthony put up in the chat too. Do you think there's a possibility that Filoni and Favreau are making fans think that Sasha Banks is playing Sabine Wren? She is only playing a High Inquisitor, because the scene that we saw her in is on the docks, and if that comes next in the next episode, that means we'll see Sasha Banks in the next episode.
I don't think she's Sabine. Yeah, I don't think she's Sabine.
I don't think she's Sabine, but I have a feeling that she may be a Mandalorian.
Possibly.
Or maybe she's a middleman between the Mandalorians.
My first thought was that Frogman is going to lead him to Sabine or one of these other Mandalorians that we've speculated are going to be in this season. Because I mean, how else if we project that we're going to certain trails are going to lead to possibly Ahsoka, right? So if Frogman, what Mandalorian? Well, it doesn't have to be Sabine, but it could be another Mandalorian. I think he's going to lead him to a Mandalorian we're familiar with, and then that's going to lead to Ahsoka. I mean, I think it makes the most sense because we only have 8 episodes, right? And I think that the Ahsoka-ish parts are going to come in episode 5 or 6, and then 7 and 8 are going to be the conclusion, whatever that's going to be, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think she's Sabine. I think she's a bad guy, personally, and I'm still sticking to that. I still think she could be some type of not a Force user, but like some type of dark something.
Well, if she's a Mandalorian and not Sabine, wouldn't she not take her helmet off? And why would she be in regular clothes and all that?
So we don't know the exact rules of a Mandalorian because
maybe just their clan.
So we've seen that some clans leave their helmets on, but not all.
We've seen Mandalorians with their helmets off all the time in the animated stuff. So,
you're right. The rules are shaky sometimes with clans.
Yeah. Well, again, Frogman could lead him to Bo-Katan as well.
Oh, Kylie. I like.
Possibly.
I like a space pirate.
Yeah, I if she was a bad guy, I don't want to see her have any kind of Force abilities. I don't want to see the Force right now. I know that it's kind of like leading towards it outside of the child, obviously. I don't want to see someone who is very Force sensitive and that's like their main power source come into the show and kind of like add a whole new element to it all. If we're going to do that, leave that to someone like Ahsoka, who's only going to be in it for so long. I don't want the show to be overrun with characters who have Force abilities.
Well, if he runs into a Force user who's a bad person, he doesn't have a chance. Like, I mean, it'd be tough.
Yeah, it adds a layer that's like, okay, I didn't really need or want that layer in the show.
Yeah,
I think we're headed in a good enough direction to where the only Force that we need is someone from like Ahsoka. And that's been here for so long. Someone that isn't going to reoccur or reappear at some point down the line. I'm not saying that Sasha, like this could just be a one-off for Sasha Banks. Who knows? But if she does have the Force, I'd rather it just be the one time, and then we just move on from it. I don't want the Force to kind of be an overshadow or a cloud above the show's head, if you will.
You know what's funny?
We say magic.
We say that a lot, but the child is Force sensitive,
but he doesn't use it as much.
We saw a lot of it in season 1, though. We haven't seen it at all in season 2.
Yeah, he drew the eggs close to him today.
Oh,
he put his hand on the egg thing in the egg.
By the way, that moment where he was looking through the fishbowl.
Yeah. He's adorable.
And like the music, I didn't know what they were doing. At first, I was like, are one of the eggs Force sensitive or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'm very excited about next week's.
Yeah, if it's a part 2, I'm cool with it. I know that a lot of people are talking about how this episode was a filler episode. It was away from the main story, but it seems like if this is in fact a part 2 and episode 3 kind of weaves back into the main story, this will mean a lot more after next week's episode now.
This was a setup.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be a filler because he saved her and her eggs, right? Now he's delivering them to the planet and her husband, and they're going to help him get to the Mandalorians. So it's not necessarily just a filler. And I will say, props to the special effects again. Oh my goodness, they are spending. I don't know if they're spending a lot of money or just using what they have very effectively.
Oh, God.
episode 1 and episode 2, chapter 9 and 10, the special effects for television have been incredible. Like I said, better than the Rathtar scene. That's my measuring stick. And
Speaking of The Force Awakens,
to be honest,
I don't know if you guys caught it, but during this scene, when the X-Wings are flying away, Ludwig Göransson had actually weaved in March of the Resistance, the John Williams score.
Really?
If you go back and listen, as they're getting in their ships and flying away, the March of the Resistance score is floated in and out of the score that he created.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a very cool little ad.
Didn't even catch it.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to get to two things real quick. One, let's start with this one. Favorite moment, character, plot point, sequence, whatever it may be of the entire episode. Brian, I'll start with you.
I mean, I loved seeing Baby Yoda be a little crap head. Like that. I agree with Jacob. Like every time he ate an egg, I was like, no, stop. Like those are important. But like he was being a true child in this episode, like from simple things as when he was running to Mando, like pick me up, save me. Like anyway,
we didn't talk about it when he waddled away from the eggs.
In the snow. So
he was
funny.
just wiggling.
Yeah. Just he is truly a child, and I love that they're not like, oh, he's this magical, mystical being that can do all this. No, right now he is a freaking child. Yes, he has like all these awesome abilities and can be potentially a big player later on, but he is a freaking child right now, and all he's worried about is getting his next snack. Like at this point, and
I'm wondering if Mando feeds him. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, he had a little thing of food. Remember when they were
feeding him the right stuff? Like Baby
Yoda didn't eat it. He just had it in his hands and was like, "Those eggs are still right there." Like so, rapscallion. That's a good word for him. Yeah, at the very end, when he's just like, he even looked into the mother's eyes and was like, she's looking at him like, "Oh, she's so nice," and then turns away and just goes, "All right, I got one more." Like, it's such a little shit.
I know, man. That's what I was thinking too.
Jacob, what about you? Favorite moment, sequence, character?
I still think my favorite part of the episode is the opening fight scene, and just from the moment his bike gets tripped up to the moment the baby looks at him and gives him that look of like, you got to kill somebody else again. That was probably my favorite. But another standout moment is when the X-Wings pull up and he's talking to them. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, a lot. I think my favorite is the dogfight.
The actual,
no surprise here. The dogfight was
such a basic.
I'm super basic. Whatever. It's funny because there was not a single shot fired, which is why I'm even like, wow, I still like it that much. It was just so brilliantly crafted, the way that it was done and the music and everything about it. But I love, if I'm to pick one other thing, it's the horror element to the show, to the episode.
That's a good one.
I never thought that we would see something like this in Star Wars. And if you're ever going to do it, not only as a television show perfectly fit for it, but also a show like The Mandalorian that kind of plays on those darker tones a little bit. So, I mean, bravo to Peyton Reed. I think Peyton Reed did a great job. I thought he was really, really good as a director. A lot of great camera work with the action and everything like that too. So it
made sense at first. I was like, why would they get him to do a horror one? But he knows how to work with special effects and on both the Ant-Man movies with creatures especially. So it made sense for him to do this episode. So it was actually a good fit.
Definitely.
I love that they keep putting like little things that it is not the most important thing in the world. Like Peyton Reed had an ant character, like, and just
little
like
Easter egg
stuff like that. Yeah, it's if you have a problem with it, you're way overthinking it. They're just little things. It's almost homage to the director that's doing it. I mean, Filoni getting to be a pilot today, and so I enjoy those things. I honestly look for them kind of.
So this happened to me twice in a row where I didn't know who directed it until the end. And I'm going to keep doing that
me too.
because I like wondering, wait, who directed this one? And then I see the name at the end. It's been a little surprise for me both times. So it's pretty cool.
It makes it afterwards when you see it, you go, oh,
yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. Yeah. The second I saw it, because I was the same with you, I didn't realize it was his episode. The second it ended, I went, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. One last thing to wrap up the show. What you are looking forward to the most after this episode could be something from episode 1 that transfers over. Could be something that came over from this episode or something completely new. Brian, I'll go right back to you on this one.
The story of the next episode, because clearly it's the
water planet,
boat, water planet, whatever you want to call it. Just because it literally shows in the trailer, if you go watch it, the exact characters from this episode. So I'm very curious about what this is doing, because now going through it, I appreciate this episode more because it's clearly setting up something for the next one. So I'm very excited to see where this goes in this next episode. And I love that we're going to new planets and it just all this stuff like this. So yeah.
Jacob?
I'm going to go ahead and mention it just in case you don't, Jake. I'm curious if what the hell is going to happen with Boba Fett. Why did we only see him at the end of that episode and then he leaves Tatooine? And I think if we weren't going to see him in the following episode, I don't think we're going to see him again this season. I think that's a very high possibility. What reason? And first of all, I just want to say there's a lot of speculation online that that's not Boba Fett. To me, there's no way. I think in my mind, 100% that's Boba Fett. You had a whole episode centered around his armor on Tatooine, referencing the Sarlacc pit. It's Boba Fett. To me, there's no question. Now, are we not going to see him again until like season 3? And I'd be a little upset about that.
I think we'll see him again. That's just my opinion. The one thing that I'm looking forward to, and I'm going to boldly say it, is we're for sure meeting an official Mandalorian next episode, and I'm very interested and intrigued on who that Mandalorian is.
Are you set on who it might be?
I have a feeling it's going to be Katie Sackhoff's Bo-Katan. I have this gut feeling that my dream is going to come true. Seeing this kind of Mandalorian come to screen. But if it's not her and it's just like an official Mandalorian, like I'll be super stoked about it.
Yeah.
But I do think that after all this time, we're officially getting to the point on meeting a Mandalorian. And I do think that it will be a well-known name that we Star Wars fans know.
What time in the morning do you watch this?
Me?
Yeah.
4 a.m.
Oh, man. I was going to say we should watch party, but I ain't waking up at 4 in the morning.
No, yeah, I get up early. No, this morning I actually watched it a little bit later, but last week I was up early, and so I watched it. And if it's next week, I'll probably stay up till midnight and watch it. So
I was up at midnight when it dropped, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I checked my phone. It came on at like 12:12 a.m.
Oh, I checked it at 12:02, and it was.
Oh, really? It was weird. I kept refreshing and it wasn't there. And then it finally popped up. But maybe it just takes a second to get on each app or something. I don't know.
I was on my Fire Stick at 12:02 because I was watching PJ and all them. And PJ goes, all right, I'm going to go. And Sean goes, you're going to go watch Mandalorian, aren't you? And he goes, yes. And he just gets rid of the screen. So it came out at midnight because I read the synopsis for it too. So
yeah, I think this point going forward, I'm going to try my best to stay up till midnight, but I don't know if that'll be possible. So we'll see.
Not if you wake up at 4 every day.
Yeah.
So either way,
we'll see. All right, guys. Well, that everyone watching, hanging out with us, comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with us over the last hour and talking Mando. Again, as it says up top there on the screen, every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific, right here on the channel, the Fandalorian Club is live. We are breaking down episodes. We are theorizing. We are speculating. We are discussing. and sometimes we're even debating. So make sure you get here every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Hit that bell icon on the channel. That way you get notified when we go live for not just Fando, but also our main show, Apocaflix Now, which is every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:30 p.m. right here on the channel. And then, of course, if you have not already, hit that subscribe button and join us for everything we do here on Apocaflix Movies. So for Jacob, for Brian, for myself, we are the Fandalorian Club. Thank you so much for everyone for joining us. We will see you guys next week, and may the Force be with you.